Have you ever wondered, can you communicate directly with spirit guides, teachers, or non-physical consciousness, or even our higher selves? What would they tell us? My name is Kevin Moore, and since 2015, I started to practice a form of communication which is termed channeling. I have been interviewing experts on my talk show to find out, does life continue after we die? And can we communicate with those that have crossed over? With each expert I spoke to, they all had different ideas. Is there knowledge from the past which could be shared with the present moment? So I thought, why not just speak to the non-physical world directly through channelers around the world? And that's what I set out to do. They Call Us Channelers will take the viewers on a journey into the phenomena known as channeling. And my main goal with this docuseries is to bring a new understanding and awareness to channeling by looking within ourselves and asking, is it truly possible that we can all use this innate ability? Athene, thank you so much for being part of this docuseries and documentary.
Oh, I'm really pleased. This is very exciting for me.
It was sort of out of the blue, wasn't it?
It was, it was. But you know, the way that Spirit works in my life, it's right on time, actually.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And why would you say that?
Well, because I've had those operations I told you about, my shoulder replacements, and I'm completely healed from them now, and I was just getting ready to get back into everything, and then I got your email. So here we are.
No coincidences, right?
Not too many in my life.
No. Do you think sometimes that the universe is a safe place? Do you think the universe is a safe place?
I think for sure it's a safe place, you know, if you understand your part in it.
Yeah. And do you think it's only looking out for us? I mean, I call the universe, I'm really saying God, or I'm saying source, or whatever you want to personify it as.
Yeah, well, everyone has to understand, you know, that it's all about consciousness anyway. So the more aware you become of the levels of consciousness that you have, the greater the connection to all other consciousness. And so that's kind of like a big spider web that everybody hooks into. And that's what makes the universe work for us, so to speak.
So, if I was to take you back to childhood and to say to you what was different about your upbringing, was there anything that you recognized that was different from you to other people?
I think from the time I was small, my grandma, who was an Indian lady, would always say, this one is different, okay? I used to like to do things like go outside and squish up the glass in the yard so that I could see the rays coming off of it. And I could always see the aura on the mountains and stuff. I just thought everyone did that. I didn't know it was just me. And then my dead relatives started coming to talk to me when I was about 10. So that was, you know, a sure sign that I was not like the rest of the family.
And you mentioned your grandmother there, I think, so she was, what, native Indian descendant?
She was, yeah. She told me where she was from, but I don't remember. But she was really the matriarch of the family.
Because they heavily believed in and still do that, you know, their tribes, their way of their very essence came from the Pleiades.
Well, you know, I have worked with a lot of different tribes here. My first guide was Red Cloud, Lakota Sioux. And actually, he was the one that taught me how to meditate to reach into higher states of consciousness. And I met him when I was meditating in the Garden of the Gods many years ago.
Great place to meet someone.
It is. It is.
For that work. A beautiful place as well. Highly recommended. So you talked about being able to tune into relatives that are passed on. What kind of conversations were they?
I didn't tune into relatives they came to see me, okay? And it was always to give me the message, to tell the family that they were doing okay, that they shouldn't worry, that they were in an okay place, things along that line.
And how did the family receive that information?
Not well. I was a child of Satan for a long time.
Really? They were very religious from that Christian
They were
perspective?
very Catholic.
Oh, Catholic.
Yeah. And what do you call that? Superstitious.
So was it easier just to sort of not talk about that kind of stuff?
Well, my mother asked me not to talk about it. Yeah. It was just easier to leave home. I left home when I was 15.
That is still quite young, especially back then as well.
Yes.
What was the catalyst then to start looking back at these subjects? What happened for you to go there?
Well, after a while of, being all over the place, Canada, San Francisco, New York, I ran into a lady that had an occult shop. And when I would go into her shop, I could tell a difference in the sense of feeling safe than I had ever felt before in my life. And I wanted to know how that happened. I wanted to know how she got there. I wanted to know what I needed to do to have that feeling of safety, because I had always been, demons had always been around me in my whole life. And I wanted to not be affected by them all the time. And so she was really the one that taught me some spiritual exercises. She did rituals, helped me with my card readings, and really showed me that my gifts were really worth having.
When you say demons have been with you, and in what sense?
Every sense. Possession was all around me. So many people I knew were possessed, and so many times dangerous demons. Demons are dangerous, what can I say? They have their own realm, and it's very close in the lower astral to where we're at. And so it's much easier for us to tune into them than it is to tune into the higher realms of the hierarchy, so to speak.
And what if our understanding of what demons are is not quite what it actually is? It's a bit softer than that.
Softer? What do you mean?
Well, it's not as negative as we think it is.
Oh, it's quite negative. Yes. Okay, their sole purpose, their only purpose, is to suck from your soul and receive the energy to utilize their, I'm going to say their tasks, or whatever it is that they're choosing to do, which in essence is cause disharmony, cause fear, cause aggravation, and especially psychic attack. A lot of people don't understand psychic attack, and if you travel at night when you're sleeping, which you do, everyone does, often when you come back, you'll go through that plane of existence, and you'll open up what I call a portal, and this allows you to bring them into this dimension. And not only, but there are also, many magicians out there that practice doing this for the sake of controlling others, manipulating, and just the joy of the ugliness of it.
I don't know if I've come into contact with that kind of energy, or whether I'm in denial that I have, or whether I have and it's gone now, or it's not as strong as it used to be, or whether it's never been there.
I was born into it. My father was possessed.
And what was that, side effects of that?
Everything that you could imagine. There was violence, there was, you could just see the change in his eyes when that demon would come through. And it took me a long time, I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to believe in possession. But, I was surrounded by it. And then I moved into so many haunted houses over the years that it was like And then that's not demons. Ghosts are not necessarily demons, okay? Ghosts are often disincarnated spirits, or spirits that haven't been able to cross over to the other side. And they can be mischievous, but they're not the same as a demon. And so I really feel that I was brought in this lifetime to understand all levels of what can and cannot happen here.
And where was the upbringing? What part of the US was that?
Well, every house I lived in was haunted. Let's see, California, San Francisco, Long Island, New York.
So do you think you attracted that energy because you were open to receiving, so they were like, oh, there's a light there?
I think it was part of growing up with my father, being subject to that energy to begin with, okay? And thinking that's what the energy was supposed to be like.
Right.
Not understanding that there was different energy.
Did any of your other family members obviously look back? I mean, this is obviously all gone now and passé, but do any of the other members look back and say, you know, there was something was not, Dad was not himself all the time?
Oh, there was more than my father. You know, that this went on throughout the family. Okay, it was a whole family deal.
Why do you think that was?
I never really got an answer on that. Well, I was adopted, for one thing, into this family.
So you were adopted into this family. I see. And this particular family had...
They're all dead now.
Yeah. Had this energy attached to them. Okay, that's interesting. Then you could switch that almost to saying, well, when others channel, other channelers are channeling, and it's a lot of love and light coming through. Some of it's practical, some not so practical.
You have to be very careful, okay? You have to know the difference between energies. You have to know if the energy that you're bringing through is of love of light, and if it's not, don't bring it through.
But if it's masquerading as love and light, yet it's more of a, you know, could you apply some of these things to your everyday life for it to be changed, to see the change? Maybe you couldn't, but yet it's masquerading as love and light. Is that still something that could be not for the highest good?
Yes, I've met people, and I'm not going to say people, I'm going to say possession. Once again, I'm going to use that word. I've met people who have been possessed by beings from a very high level who are not supposed to be in this dimension, who have used this body or used a body or a person to come through and to wreak havoc.
In havoc in what way?
Just once again, controlling people's mind, manipulating their thoughts, utilizing the energy of hatred for one another, things along that line.
Okay, well, I haven't met channelers who have projected any hate energy, right? But I am at a place where I'm like, well, what are some people bringing through? And is it masquerading itself as something it's not?
No, it's more a thing of now, this day and age, okay? The channelers have really done a lot of work on themselves to get themselves to a place of purity and heart within themselves, that they're not going to allow anything like that to take place, okay? Understanding the process of getting there is difficult, but by the same token, every channeler knows the danger areas, and they avoid them. There's no reason to utilize that energy.
My last channeler before you was a channeler that said, you know, 99.9% of all channelers aren't channeling what they think they're channeling.
And that's their opinion. That's that channeler's opinion.
And he didn't want to go on tape to even say that, really.
And that's okay, I understand that. You know, everyone has their own perspective of things.
But you lose the sense on this journey, especially with someone like me and those watching this now, of where is that there is almost no line.
Okay, it came to pass in my life where I learned to understand energies, and that you could have energy that was negative, or you could block that energy and you could bring positive energy of love and light in. Now, that was, I think, for me, very important to have so that I would know the difference between who was and who wasn't talking to me. And that took some time.
And how would you know if something's masquerading itself to say that it's this and that?
Well, that brings up, I'd like to dive in here with how I met the angels, if I could. Okay? I was working with Red Cloud, as I told you. All kinds of stuff was going on. Red Cloud had me doing all kinds of medicine wheels. He taught me how to do the medicine wheel. He turned me into a bird, and we went to the other red rocks. He showed me the other red rocks in Sedona, said this is all connected. These are all vortex energies. And then he taught me so much. And then I was laying in bed one night, and this gigantic angel sat on the bottom of my bed and woke me up. Now, when I say a gigantic angel, the only way I can explain it is that there were no longer any walls there. There was no longer any room there. There was nothing there but this angel and its wings and its light. And the first thing I said to the angel was, you know, who are you? And he says, I am Gabriel. And I said, how do I know you're Gabriel? How do I know you're not some being masquerading, as you say, the devil coming to see me, you know? And he showed me a thing in my jewelry box that had been manifested there by him, which I still have. And I said, are you sure you have the right address? There must be somebody holier down the street. And he says, I have the right address, okay? And we spoke at length. And it was like the greatest feeling of love that you could ever imagine. It was like out of this world, okay? Within a week or 2 weeks later, there was a big, it sounded like my ceiling was caving in, and something was coming down through the top of my house. And it knocked all my energy fields down. I was down on my knees. And I was looking up, and he said, I am Michael. Okay? And I was like, whew, you know, no doubt. I mean, there's just no doubt when you receive a visitation of who it is. And him and I, he showed me all the visions of my life, all the times that he had been there when I had been in trouble, all the times that he had helped me and pulled me out of those situations. And then he looked at me and he says, and he didn't have his wings on. Rarely do they have their wings on when they appear here. And he says to me, you owe me. Which, you know, is really an odd thing to hear from an angel. But then he did tell me what he wanted me to do to help him with some other channeler that he was working with. And then, like a week or so later, I was like, I looked up in the air, and there was this angel standing there with a flaming head. And he said, I am the angel of the flaming hair. And I'm going, no crap, no doubt in my mind. And he had a book in one hand, and he had a scepter in the other. And he said, and I sit at the right hand of God. And that was Uriel. Meanwhile, Raefiel had made an appearance through another channeler to communicate with me. And the channeler said she'd never heard an angel talk to someone the way that he spoke to me, like old friends who hadn't seen each other in a very long time. And Archangel Raefiel has been with me ever since. We get real possessive of our angels, okay? We want them to be ours, but they're not. They belong to everyone. But Raefiel and Michael are the teachers that are most noted in the earth plane.
Why do you think those two famous names have come through you then?
They didn't come through me, they came to me.
Mm-hmm. But they're working through you now.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
I am now integrated. I now am part of everything that I channel, everyone that I channel, and they are all part of me. There is no longer a separation.
Is it part of a team?
Yes, the hierarchy is vast. Okay, the angelic realm is simply one realm within the hierarchy. Then you have another realm where the ascended masters dwell. You have another realm where there's the guides and the teachers. There's many realms. It's like, somebody says, well, when I die, where am I going to go? And I go, it's so vast over there, I can't tell you where you're going to go when you die. I'll tell you this, you better get yourself ready before you go.
Now, other people channel these names, and how does that make you feel that others channel these beings, and are they channeling these beings?
I will not judge that, okay? I do not feel it is my place to decide, okay? The truth is the truth, and when the truth is heard, there's no deception about it. Nobody has to ask a question if it's the truth. When I do a channeling, nobody ever in the room ever asks, are you sure that's who you were channeling?
Yeah.
And you will see that after I channel.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I meet you at a part of my journey when, it's just been some crazy, crazy times.
I felt, when I heard from you, the feeling I got is that you're searching very deeply right now. You're searching very deeply for your own connection. Okay, you not only want to know is it real, but you want it to be real to you.
Well, I started channeling when I met many years ago, and that's what got us into doing this documentary, and I followed it all the way to the bank, and I still do. When I bring that through, I'm like, this is just me talking here.
Because you have not yet discovered what energy is what, okay? You cannot identify and separate your energy from the energy of the beings that are coming forward. A good channeler will interpret the energy that they're getting and put it into words, okay? If you cannot do that, then you're not channeling.
Yeah, so I do that, and of course when it first came through, out came a book straight away, and it's led us down this path, and now I guess I represent those who would find or are just getting into this, and I've hoped that my journey can, if it's close to theirs, it can help them as well.
Isn't that interesting how that's all of us? What you're saying is a part of all of us. That's what all of us wanted. When we all first started, we thought about putting up communities and centers and schools and this. There's nothing that we want more than to share the truth of the hierarchy with the people in this plane of existence that are searching for their own inner God.
Yep, that's a good way of putting it.
Because it is. It's your own inner God. There is not one thing that we can say. It's source, it's consciousness, it's energy. It is all of it.
It's all of it, yet it's separate at the same time. Or we bring it through as separate, or it is separate, or it's both.
We separate. The human mind separates.
It could be, but then, there's so many times, it could be. When Jane Roberts, channeled Seth, was it Seth? Or was it something, was it a group called Seth? I'd go more for it was a group.
And why does that matter to you? I mean, why should it matter?
As a pick out of all the rest that are out there that I've met, it was good material. And why does it matter to me? Just because people that have come my way just recently who are now connected to that Seth group. And of course then you've got the case of making a case for that person that they are. And
like I told you, we get possessive of our angels. We get possessive of whoever comes through us. And that's what happens with these people. It's like, no, there's only Seth, or there's only this, or there's only that God, and you're like,
yeah,
that's very religious.
It can be, and it's also, I guess, some people get like that to protect the work of the original Seth that came through, where we're not trying to dilute something that was really good.
Right, and once again, why do they feel that that's their job? Where did they pick this task up from?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's the question you have to ask them.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Wish I'd asked them that when I was with them.
Yeah, because that's, it's like, why do you feel this is your task? To protect the truth? The truth cannot protect itself. It needs you to protect it.
What is channeling to you?
Channeling to me is allowing myself to be a vessel or a vehicle for beings and teachers of light to bring through their messages to this plane of existence.
Okay, so I think on your journey we got up to, you went to the occultist shop and then you realized there was something more calling you, basically.
Oh yeah, that was years before.
Well, let's go back and then go forward into this, because that will lead us to the journey, won't it? Or what part of the journey did you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the work that Raefiel did with me when I met him.
Okay.
I want to talk about the years of work that Raefiel did with me. I want to talk about asking him the questions like you're asking me. Why was my life this way? Why is this?
Let's do that.
Okay?
Let's do that. So, on your journey, which has been an incredible journey, when did you first meet your guide, like Raefiel, and sort of what age were you around then when that came in?
Actually, I met Red Cloud right around 1988, shortly after the harmonic convergence. And then I met Raefiel shortly after that. And when I began to work with Raefiel, he began to take me within, journey within. And he showed me, I traveled through all my lifetimes that I could possibly travel through in a couple of years' time. And they were pretty horrific. You know, people talk about past lives like you're going to go there and you're going to be happy and you're going to say, oh, wow, I was... And it's like, no, you see what went on and how you got to where you are in this lifetime. And then I would meditate on the couch and I would be taken out of body and I would be given hour dissertations by different teachers daily. It was not, oh, gee, like, you're just now, this is going to happen. You know, it was like, this is how you evolve, this is how you grow, this is how you become. So for me, the journey has been about how you grow, how you become. It hasn't been about channeling. Channeling was like a side thing, okay? That was something that just, you know, it was just there, I could do it. But it wasn't my main focus at all. My main focus was always the learning and the understanding of the different dimensional frequencies, the different levels of consciousness, how they all came together, okay? And how they made that whole, that center.
So you must have had a lot of questions.
Oh, I did, just like you are asking me, only I had more.
Yeah. And he was able to answer them all?
He took me to show me, okay, what had gone on in my past lives that had caused my karma to reenact in various lifetimes in various ways.
And what were some of those lives?
A couple that I remember strongly. One was where I don't know exactly the time, but I was walking down the road and I was holding my baby. And I was putting my baby down on the side of the road, asking that someone else pick it up because I was too poor to care for that child. And I had to leave it. And then another lifetime was, we were priests and priestesses, and we were killing our own babies. And that was a horrific one. It took me quite a while to finally get into the lifetime enough to understand why we did that. But that was during the time when whoever it was that was, condemning the people of the practice that we were in, they were killing our children. Only they were taking them and they were torturing them and they were doing terrible things to them. So in order to save them, we killed them ourselves. It brought a lot of understanding to me about my feelings, about my children. Why I'm so attached to them. A lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff where I was hiding material, written material, so that it would be saved for later on, because they were destroying it. They were destroying all the books. They were destroying all the information. Which to me kind of sounds like what your friend there, your Seth friend, is trying to do now.
It could be looked upon that way, couldn't it?
Yeah. You know, and times of great, you know, starvation and hunger and war. Lot of war.
I mean, from my perspective, I could say, well, that was years ago when those past lives came in, you know, and I would say, well, you've processed them by now, but they were that real, the memories were that real, you knew that to be true.
Oh yes, that was
You
30
knew that
years
to
ago.
be true.
30 years ago.
Yeah. And do you think that those past lives are happening now? That's why it hurts so much still? Because all lives are happening simultaneously?
That's part of it.
Do you think by bringing it up in this life, you're healing a past life?
I think that it has to do with looking around us now and seeing what's going on in the world and having a different understanding of why that is taking place. And because that's always been my question is why? Why are these wars in Iraq and Iran, and why are these people torture each other? Why? I want to know why. And it's always been a thing of karma, the cycle. When you have the ability to reconnect with your soul in this lifetime, and you have the ability not to. When they say we are gods, that's what they're talking about.
Right.
Choice. But the choice is about soul. These journeys I'm telling you about were within my soul. He took me soul traveling, he taught me how to do it, and he taught me how to take others there. Okay? And in my soul, I also found, like you said, the bad and the good. Okay? It's like many people are just stuck in that mentality. They're stuck in that, that need to hurt and harm and hate. And they don't know, they've done it so long, they don't know how to stop it.
But you mentioned a really good point there where you said most of us do not want to look within our soul.
No, people don't.
Most people that I know, even some family, have no interest in looking within their soul. What is the benefit of one looking within their soul versus one that will never? Because that one that will never, surely that might be helping the people around it not to look because that's part of its karmic, or some things have been agreed upon that it won't because it's for some other person's benefit around them maybe, not just theirs.
Understand that there are forces at work here, okay? That we live in a dimension of form. That form is not within other dimensions the way it is here. Okay? And so we have been given a mind, a human mind, which other dimensions don't have a human mind. Okay? That human mind has a need for, what do they call it? The 7 deadly sins or something. Greed, avarice, power, whatever it is. Okay? That's their way of believing control should be of the people's minds upon this planet. The reason that the Pleiades are coming through, the reason that the Arcturians are coming through, the reason that all of these other beings from these other places are coming through is to help people to remember where they came from. That they did not come from that type of plant, so to speak. If there is evolution, then there is de-evolution. So everybody says, well, if you have a soul and you connect with it, you'll evolve. Well, what happens if you don't connect with it? Do you de-evolve? Indeed.
But surely when you cross back over, there must be some unfathomable period of time when in the end you'll realize, I'm still here.
Why do you think so? What makes you think that?
Well, wouldn't someone be kind enough just to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, you're not in Kansas anymore?
It doesn't work that way, okay? You can cross over and come right back in. You don't have to go anywhere when you cross over, except into another body, into a cow,
so you won't
into a mouse.
so you won't even have had a chance to choose anything. You'll just...
Your chance was here. You blew it.
But then that's almost like we're at someone's suffering hands, and that there's some unforeseen force that's,
You're at your own suffering hands. Okay? We individually must make the choice. Okay? You cannot decide that it's about what someone else believes. You have to find the truth within yourself. And that's why metaphysics is so important.
But some kindness for people who never have or look into their soul.
They have many incarnations to do so. It's not just one incarnation.
No.
No, it's many incarnations.
Probably unfathomable amount, or?
Well, hundreds, thousands, millions, who knows?
Right. But do you think they get a chance to have a life between life review and say, hey, John, you thought you were doing something good there?
Yes, they do, at some point.
But then if they're so switched off, if there was an atheist in this life, for example, aren't they just going to say, I'm having a good little imagination here, this is a bit of a nice daydream?
There's a whole experience that goes on when you leave this world and you come back into it. Okay? There are choices that are made on a soul level while you are out of body. And that's what you're asking me. Can they then choose? And I'm going to say, depending on where they're at in their karmic level of understanding. I'm not going to say it's cut and dried for everyone, because it's not.
It's different for everyone, isn't
It
it?
is.
Right, yeah, there's no one formula or one size meets all, no. Because we're all at different stages, aren't we?
Right, that's why channelers channel this, or they channel this, or they channel the other, because it's not all the same thing.
Thank you for that. So just getting back to your journey then, so God, you had to go through quite a bit of processing here, right? So once you'd processed quite a bit all the things that were holding you back in this life, I guess that's what you were trying to do, right?
Yes.
Where was the growth then? Where were you moving forward to then with the channeling?
It wasn't the channeling, it was everything.
Yeah.
It was everything I had learned. And I started in my own home, and I started by putting a flyer up somewhere, and 4 people came to my class, and the next thing you knew, I was teaching classes on a regular basis, and I was teaching people how to connect, how to meditate is what I called it.
And that would have come out of the blue, because you'd have probably looked back on that and been like, well, how the hell did that happen?
Well, I've been trying to meditate, or trying to learn to meditate, since I was in my 20s. So when I finally reached a meditative state, and a meditative state is when you are no longer in your own way, when you are observing your thoughts are not you anymore, then you are connecting with different levels of consciousness and receiving information, which is what channeling is anyway.
What was the key to getting to that place?
The inner work.
The inner work. And that, just very briefly, that would have included everything that you've spoken about so far, but...
The inner work, going within, meditating, actually cleaning out your own self, okay? Understanding, if I look at this and I see it this way, it means one thing. If I process it and now I see it this way, it means something entirely different. I have come to terms with it. It no longer possesses me. It no longer chases me. It no longer makes me feel encumbered within my own being.
A lot more freedom.
You bet.
Happier?
Yes.
But still, you would still get tested, in a sense, just by life.
You always are going to be going through processing and initiation and growing. It's an unending process.
Well, then you look at some of the medical things that you've had to go through recently.
Right.
I guess you had to employ a lot of that, because you could say, well, this is a destructive, a hateful universe that wants me to suffer. But you didn't look at it like that.
No, I did not. I looked at it like, we have modern medicine this lifetime. These things probably were wrong with me in other lifetimes and couldn't be fixed. How lucky am I to get them fixed in this lifetime?
But you could call yourself spiritual and still see things quite negatively, couldn't you?
Always. We always are human. I don't care how spiritual you become, as long as you have this vehicle right here that you're in, you'll always have that.
But it's good to see how you've used, because there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there, let me just say this, right, that talk the talk, but they do not walk the walk. Because
they don't understand, okay? They have no real understanding.
But they have a large following, maybe?
Well, look at all the, what's his name, the cults that have come along, and people have followed them, and I mean, they've even killed themselves because somebody said, You know, this is what God wants you to do. Nobody tells you what God wants you to do but God. And if you don't have the ability to tap into that, then you better figure out why not. Okay? Then get with it.
Yeah, right. So let's just keep with your story here. So you've been doing the channeling classes.
I just did classes.
Just did classes.
Meditation.
Yep. What was the progression of your work from there then?
I taught people how to go within. Okay, I taught people how to connect with their inner self. I taught them how to connect with their guides. I taught them how to free themselves of the shackles of what they thought they were capable of doing. And I teach people to help themselves. I don't tell people what to do. I show you how you can do it. Okay? I don't believe that anybody should tell anybody else what to do. Okay? My methods were taught to me by my angels, my teachers of light. I share those methods. Okay? People came to me to see me for years, and someone came one time and said, "You are the best hypnotherapist that I have ever met in my life." And I said, "You mean there's a name for this?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "You mean you can get a diploma, you can get a degree in this?" And she said, "Yeah." So of course I went to that school and got all those diplomas and everything, because I wanted to have the thing that you put on the wall that says, "I have diplomas."
So I must have missed 20 minutes there. So basically, some of the work that you were doing was equal to hypnotherapy.
Apparently.
And who taught you that initially?
Lord Raefiel, Archangel Raefiel.
That's amazing. So you knew nothing about this format, yet you were taking people down to this, you know, getting the self out of the way and getting into the soul aspect, or the higher self, or whatever you want to personify it as. I mean, maybe there's different layers to it. Maybe there is. Wow.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know, Raphael showed me the way.
So once you got your certificates, then was that another shift in your career then as well?
Well, what happened was I went to this school, and then I got my clinical certification, and then I was so disappointed in how they taught the classes. They were taking way too long to help people, and they were making it much more difficult than it needed to be. So that's what I realized from that. So later on, I went and I took mediation courses. I mean, I've always been open to learning things. You want to see my certificates I've got?
No. That's definitely an interesting A to B to C situation, you know, and especially been doing something we're not quite too sure what it is. And yes, you're right. There's all these, you know, ways of doing hypnotherapy, and some of it's a bit drawn out sometimes. I will say
this was transpersonal hypnotherapy was
right.
what it was called.
Yeah. But I'm sure it's, like you say, of course it served you to you know, at least know the other ways of seeing how people do that.
Right.
To know that yours works for you.
Right. And what was neat about it was like, I could teach this. I could do this. I could be one of these teachers. I could stand here and do this. But I don't want to.
So where, over all these years from there, has your journey taken you with Raefiel and the channeling? Where are we at to now?
Anytime I had classes or people that were with me in my classes, I also would do group channelings. I started doing group channelings about 30 years ago. The Arcturians were some of the first beings that came through, and all the information about all the things that are going on now was what they told us about back then.
Right.
Okay? And all my students will tell you that. You told us all of this 30 years ago. This is not a time now where we need to tell the future to people. This is a time when people need to get centered in the present and prepare themselves for creating a future, because they're not doing a very good job of it.
And what sort of future can we create? Any kind of future we want?
We have to create a future without wars. And we have to create a future where we quit devastating the earth. And we quit thinking that we're the almighty, egotistical, whatever. We have to get into an understanding of that flow of connection.
Yeah, it's when you look back a couple of years, you can see that future predictions were quite the rage at the time, weren't they?
30 years ago.
30 years ago, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and for some, if I remember a few of them as well, there tends to be correlation between where we are now.
Always should be.
Yeah.
Always should be correlation with what channelers bring through.
What's beyond this time? I know we don't want to say that, but I mean, if we're not channeling further than what we've got now, there must be a reason for that. Is this a special time?
This is a special time. The harmonic convergence was a special time. The harmonic concordance was a special time. What does that mean? That means that there have been shifts in energy and consciousness that have helped people to awaken. Like you said, well, can't they do that when they die? No, but we can help them do that while they're here. And so the more we promote this energy, the more we bring it in, the more we anchor it right here, okay, the more it affects everyone else around us, the more they want to start searching.
So your group, your guides right now, I believe that there's a message, or there's been a message that they wanted you to talk about as well. So if you
Yes. The message they want me to talk about has to do with the great acceleration of time and technology and how that's fitting in with everything else, especially the younger people. Okay? And that's what they want to talk about today.
Well, you've only got to watch them. It's like that, isn't it? They're just, everyone's glued to. I'm guilty of it as well sometimes, and I have to stop myself, right? But okay, and do they want to come through and talk about that?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready?
You're ready. Okay. Is there anything else just off tape right now that you think you might want to touch upon that we've maybe missed out?
The only thing I can say is that it is a journey, and it is long. And don't give up. Don't give up because you're not getting where you think you're supposed to get, or you're not a channeler, or you're not this. What you have to do is understand that it's a process. And it really all is about knowing yourself on the inside, and yourself on every different level that you can find.
But when you've met, getting on to 60 plus channelers, right? And it's either said in a different way, which is really great, right? Or sometimes it's said in a way that's just completely different, and you're like, God damn.
Are you sure whatever it is
That's coming
being
through.
said in two different ways?
Is
it the same message, but it's coming through in two different ways? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes it can be, and sometimes it can be a completely different message. Like, no, we do not agree with that. No, we do not believe in that. No, that's not our truth.
I don't know what to say to that. Okay, I'd have to, I know, once again, I know the energies. I've gone to see people that said they're channelers, and I've watched, and I see nothing, okay, but their own gray matter channeling through, okay? And I know that that's what's going on, okay? And I can't tell them that's wrong, but I also can't tell them that's right.
What would be, when you say grey matter, could we change those words for the higher self maybe? Or not even that?
Not even that.
God.
Okay? A really intelligent, educated person has a lot of stored information in there that they can be sharing.
So they're accessing in ways they've never accessed before.
Correct. And in a way that is channeling.
Is it not?
Yes. I mean, when you think about the great people who have brought the inventions into being, okay? If one person gets that message, someone else on another part of the planet gets that message, someone else over there gets that same message. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's no different than the channelers being at different levels of consciousness.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Everyone's not at the same level of consciousness, so they're not going to be able to tell you what the angels are saying if they've never talked to the angels.
Yes, and it's discern. Do you discern yourself sometimes? Do you ever use discernment?
Always.
Yeah.
You have to. I have to know the difference when I'm in the way and when I'm not. That's what I call it.
What is the difference when you're in the way? How do you know you're in the way?
When I'm in the way, I start talking instead of listening.
But you've got to talk to repeat what's being said or what you're downloading now.
I have to interpret what's being told me.
Oh, right, okay. Oh,
Okay?
I see, it's like
And I need to
okay.
be using my mind to do that.
So, oh, I see, that's how it's working for you. It's more of an interpretation.
Exactly.
Right, okay, that's interesting.
Okay? Because they don't come through in words like people think they do.
That's funny you say that, because every time I've been channeling, and it's not that often, I sit back sometimes, I'm like, actually, I'm just interpreting something else here. This is not being said. It's almost like, oh, you've seen pictures and you're interpreting it.
That's right.
It's a bit like that. No one's ever said that on this.
Yes, and also, the more you practice, the better you get.
And I don't do enough of that neither. So,
You know?
yeah.
So it's like anything else, you know? You got to work at it to get good at it.
Did you ever think to yourself at some point, I just want a normal daytime job. I want to fit in with normal.
I never knew what that was. So in all my types of abnormal life, I never really knew what normal was. I consider myself to be more normal than most people right now.
You come across very, very centered, you do it with lots of really time-served information because you've been doing this for such a long time.
And I study. I've learned.
Study. Yeah.
You know, you have to study. You have to learn. I've learned my metaphysics. I've learned my Eastern teachings. I've learned it all.
Edgar Casey always said, you know, it starts with research, then it kind of ends up into enlightenment.
Right.
But I couldn't say I know it all. I think I know a grain of sand on an infinite beach.
Well, when I say I know it all, I understand this part over here, and how it threads through this part over here, and how it threads through this part over here. Why Christianity exists, why Buddhism exists, why Bodhisattvas. Those are the things that I understand. Okay, not that I understand the all.
No, and do you think, you know, and not that, I think about this sometimes, but I think when I've crossed back over, or whatever that experience is, gone through, gone down, whatever, left, right, that there'd be so much more available to what you thought it was, and what we even think this is now is not quite what we even can perceive it is.
They always say this is illusion. Everything here is illusion. If you read your teachings, they say everything here is illusion. All right? What do you make of that?
How does that fit into a practical, self-centered
Exactly.
life, you know, to a normal life? Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and that's what we're experiencing every day, is how to balance that, how to make those things work.
But then on this journey, I've met a lot, but there's been a lot of deep information come through about the multidimensional reality, stuff that came through many years ago through other entities as well. And you're like, why are we talking about this? And they're like, because you need to know the time is now. We wouldn't be talking about it otherwise. It's to know. It's for you to know there's more.
I used to ask Spirit, I said, how come, you know, why me? Why do you want me to channel? Why do you want me to write? I said, all this has been written already. All this has been told already. And they said, because it's not been written and told by you. People will understand it differently coming from you than they understand it coming from this over here or that over there.
That's almost like we're a shepherd and we've got our flock of sheep. That's interesting, that analogy you say there, because that could be applied to future generations watching this as well.
Right. You know, I tell people, you know, the only thing that gets in our way is our own mind. When we learn to meditate and learn to go beyond our mind or back up from our mind, then suddenly there's no words for it. Okay? People can't tell you what happens because it's the experience. So the messages that are coming through basically are to get people to understand, hey, we're here. We're here. We're accessible. You know, don't ever think that we're not here, because we are.
it's all to yourself.
Okay, I like to begin with a prayer, and I like everybody to repeat after me if I ask you to do so. I call forth the energies of the Father, Mother, God. I call forth the higher light of light within. I call forth my higher self. You too, say that.
I call forth my higher self.
I call forth my guides, my teachers.
I call forth my guides, my teachers.
All those that assist, guide, guard, and protect.
All those that assist, guide, guard, and protect.
And ask that they align within me.
And ask that they align within me.
And assist me in my journey today.
And assist me within my journey today.
I am.
I am.
A child of love and light.
A child of love and light.
I am.
I am.
Special in my own right.
Special in my own right.
I am.
I am.
Deserving of love and light.
Deserving of love and light.
And just take some deep breaths. And imagine that the sun is at the center of the room. And the rays of sunlight are coming down, surrounding us, putting us into this wonderful ball of energy and light, as it also comes down through the center of your head and out through the bottom of your feet, opening and aligning all of your chakras, attuning you to your own soul consciousness. I am the way, the truth, and the light. I am the sanctity of God, Goddess, all that is. I am in service to the Holy of the Holies, Holy of the Holies, and I am here today as a spokesman for a group of beings known as the Archangels. Raefiel is with me, Michael, Gabriel, together, working with the Ascended Masters. We come forward today to share our message with the new group of millennials that have come in this hard lifetime with the challenges that they face and the essence that they must find within this distortion that is called energy upon this planet. So much has been spoken of before. So much we are the ancient teachings, and we wish now to be more of the modern teachings. We come forward to say that we are involved with technology, that we understand how it accelerates the mind, how it accelerates the body, how it accelerates people. The acceleration of time on your planet, the Earth, started in 1986 with the harmonic convergence. When we say acceleration, it's a term that should be expressed and explained. Acceleration has to do not so much with actuality, but with premonition. When you understand that each of you are premonitory beings, that each of you do have the ability to see and know what will happen to you today and tomorrow and every day, you will begin to perceive the understanding of the premonition of where the planet is going as a whole. So many of you, young and old, have taken up your power and used it in areas of recycling, of planting, of growing, of discovering, of teaching, learning, and sharing. The young are so adept at this point in time, they have a hard time comprehending anything that has to do with ancient teachings. Ancient teachings our present teachings, our future teachings, it is all one. There is going to be a time upcoming of great challenge upon the earth plane when each and every person must discover or must determine for themselves if their soul exists, and if so, why it is here. It has been begged and begged and begged of us to please help each of you to connect with your own soul memories and with your own Christed selves. You are the essence and the light as we are. We serve the higher good, as do you. But much of what has been taught of serving the higher good has been lost. For now, it is more a discussion. It is more an argument. It is more what's right and what's wrong, what's truth and what's not. Therefore, we say the truth is within each of you, but it can only be discovered when you accept the whole of all that is. We are part of a service. Many in this plane, many in this realm, serve different planets, different species of beings, different gods, so to speak, even though the Almighty, the one, the only, is beyond anything that we could bring to you in speaking. In the only word we have is love. Love is what is missing. It is the connective force that leads you to your own soul purpose, to your own soul awareness, to your own soul being. Love, unconditional love and conditional love, both must be understood by each of you in order for you to access the memories of your own soul and the collective soul, as well as the God soul within you. There is much that has been spoken of. There are many people pretending to be something they are not. One of the ways that humans grow is to adapt to things that they have not yet experienced. In so doing, sometimes they find that they need to be someone other than who they are. And indeed, we understand this. But for sure, if you cannot find the center of your own being, no matter what facade you put on, it will not bring you the answers and the peace that you are searching for. Are there godless children upon the earth? Indeed, this is a question we hear often. And indeed, we say to you, we do not comprehend godless, for we are of God. But yet we understand that if you do not and cannot ascend this plane of existence, you will not evolve to become a master of your own destiny. You are here indeed, you of the technological world, you the great teachers that bring all the newness into the world, as well as the helpers who help the blind and the deaf and the sick. You are all here for the same purpose, and that is to transition into a higher realm of perception, to change through the mind by manifesting and understanding your own power to do so. When you have connected with your inner self, when you become connected with your higher self, you will have the ability then to begin manifesting and creating a new reality in your life. You must be the first new reality you create. In that reality, all other realities you wish to create will begin. It is like a tree that is planted and begins to branch out. And as it branches out, it also grows leaves. And then those also grow and eventually reach in all different forms of directions. There is not one right or one wrong way to go. There is not good, bad, evil, better. It really all is distortion and manifestation of clarity is what you are seeking. For distortion was what you were born into. The world around you is in a great distortion at this point in time. It is for you to find the clarity within the distortion and bring it to the forefront. There have been great sadness. Many people are suffering at this time. Mother Earth herself, her oceans are in peril. The very air you breathe is being fought for. Selfishness is the greatest evil there is, in the sense of not sharing, not trusting, not believing, not wanting. When you feel that you are beaten down, when you feel that you have no choice, you are at the mercy of something different than yourself. It is energy, but it is pervasive. This is what has happened to your governments all over your planet. There are many other planets that have governments, and they do not operate this way. They operate in union and harmony with the good of the whole of their planet, their being, and the beings upon it. So often, we have heard you say, please, send the ships, rescue us. For indeed, you believe that you need to be rescued. For in reality, you are the rescuers. You are the ones to rescue and to help and to proceed in a manner that shines, that glows, that beams out, that centers upon the center of all life. You have been given the ability to maintain great amounts of information. You have been given the ability to use and utilize your technology for many, many great things. But technology cannot save your mind. Your mind must be saved and salvaged by you. The various levels of consciousness now are so much upon each other that there is a garbled energy coming through that is blocking certain waves of clarity that need to be opened. Once again, we know that the old ancient teachings of meditation are boring, but indeed they are necessary. No, meditation need not be the crossing of the legs and the sitting and the going to the mountaintop. Meditation can now be done by closing the eyes and expressing quickly that you wish to reach a certain trance state and being able to go there. Learning about trance is where everyone has to put their focus at this point in time. It's where all the information is stored and you can actually utilize it and separate it and utilize it in a way that makes clarity and sense for the development of whatever projects it is that you are currently working on. This is a time. This is a major time of the heart. People must understand that without love, all things will dissipate. Love is the glue that binds you. Love is the sense of peace you seek. Love is the energy needed for growth and development. Love is what we are. Love is what you are. Young ones, hear us. Yes, we are old. We are ancient. We are different. But you too have within you this old ancientness. You too have memories of where you have been and what you have seen, of different planets, of other beings. All those things reside within you. All you need to do is connect with them. Trance will take you there. Opening the hearts and minds of mankind is what we have been set out to do. We are here as helpers. We are here in service, and we ask you to find your service to do unto yourself and others in the peacefulness of the heart of the planet herself, for she cries out to you, please, please pay attention. The silence cannot be lost. Silence must be revered. It must always be sacred. Each and every person upon this planet has the right to change and to change life. They do it unconsciously every day. Imagine doing it consciously. Imagine what a change and a difference that would bring. We come to you today to share that we are accessible, that we are here. We, not just the angelic realm, not just the ascended masters, but all teachers and guides of light. Even loved ones on the other side that have grown beyond their understanding in this plane. All are accessible to you, for you to utilize. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you will not be alone. We come in the sanctity of the Holy of Holies. We come in essence of the light, and to share that light in the name of love. And we open to you an opportunity today to seek the help within that you wish, simply by sending a prayer stating that you are ready and you believe, and it will be written. So be it, so be it, so be it be done. We leave you in peace and harmony today. We shall surround you. We cannot save you from yourself. That you must do. Amen, amen, amen.